Have you had a payment reserve put on your Etsy shop, or are you wondering what it is? Watch on as we explore what it is and what you can do about it, if and when it happens to you. If we're just meeting, hi, I'm Alan and I run a handmade business around my day job and family commitments. At the time of making this recording, I have been selling on Etsy since 2018 with over 8,500 sales of kids art and photo displays. With an average review of 5 stars, I was surprised to have my payments frozen for the second time now. So currently Etsy are holding over $2,200 or £1,800 of my earnings from sales. In this video, we will explore what are payment account reserves and why Etsy might put one on your shop. What happens when you have a payment reserve on your account? What can be done to lift the payment reserve? How to protect your shop from payment reserves? And be sure to watch until the end for an important bonus tip. What are payment reserves and why might Etsy put one on your shop? A payment reserve lasts for 90 days and there are 3 main reasons why it can happen to you. If you are new to Etsy and have recently made your first sale, they don't know if you're trustworthy, or you have a sudden sharp increase in sales. They don't know if you're going to be able to fulfill these, so the pot of money is there in case refunds are needed. Or you've had a notice of selling counterfeit items, intellectual property or IP infringement, or unauthorized reproductions. None of these reasons apply to me, so I thought maybe like the last time a reserve was put on my payment account, it was a mistake, which would get lifted by getting in touch with Etsy, but no such luck this time. There are also other unlisted reasons that could trigger a reserve on your payments, but Etsy will not tell you exactly what the problem is, so how can you fix the issue? What happens when your payment account is on reserve? During this time, Etsy holds 75% of earnings from each and every order you receive, and they hold on to this cash for 45 days. For me, this is currently built up to over $2,200 or £1,800. Fortunately, I run my Etsy shop on the side of my regular job as an employee, and I have some reserves in my business bank account to pay for things like direct debits, for mobile phones, and other subscriptions like software. Otherwise, I would be in a really difficult place. Whilst the cost of materials and running my business and income tax has to be taken from the amount on hold, to me it is still a significant chunk of cash stuck in limbo. If you're getting some value from this video, please give a like and consider subscribing to the channel, it really helps. Thank you. What can be done to lift a payment reserve? You need to add valid tracking when you dispatch your order and Etsy will release your funds. Valid tracking means that the postal service or courier you use is recognised by Etsy, so they can automatically see the tracking status. For me in the UK, I use Royal Mail for both local and international shipping. By design, my items can ship as large letters, and the Royal Mail offers the best value for this size of packet. You might be thinking, what's the problem? Just add tracking. Well, for me, it's not so simple, as I use standard services that do not have real-time tracking that Etsy wants. My displays are relatively low cost, and especially for international customers, the fully tracked service is not worth it and can cost about 2/3 of the price of the display. About less than 1% of international customers go for the fully tracked service, and recently I have found that it does not mean that items get delivered any faster. How to protect your Etsy shop from payment reserves? Assuming you are not a new seller and are doing everything else right, like dispatching your items on time, not infringing on IP, not having unresolved customer complaints, and having a good average review score, then just use track shipping for every order and you should be fine. You can either build the cost of track shipping into the price of your items if you offer free shipping, or only offer tracked shipping as the delivery option. I see this as a carrot and stick technique being used by Etsy. They are not forcing you to use tracking, but if you don't, then it can take 45 days for you to get the funds from your sale. So plan accordingly. As in the wider business world, it is not uncommon to get paid 30 or more days after providing goods or services. For the time being, I'm getting drip-fed 25% of my earnings weekly, but after 45 days, the tap will gradually be opened up and I will get a rolling feed of the balance, just with Etsy holding a massive buffer. Are they doing it with a whole load of shops to bolster their finances to look good for investors? Who knows? Please let me know in the comments if you have been affected by a reserve. At a time of high inflation and the cost of everyday things like food and fuel going up and up, the current payment reserve on my shop is far from ideal. And while it's frustrating, you have to remember that if you use a platform to sell on, then you agree to their terms and conditions, which can change at any time as well. Overall, I do still recommend selling on Etsy, especially if you are running your business as a side project like me. I have an 18-month-old son and 6-year-old daughter, so this leaves pretty much no time for me to be hammering social media every day to promote my shop. I do run ads on Etsy though, and have to take part in compulsory off-site ads. Together with the general traffic that the platform gets, this accounts for about 85% of visits to my shop and results in a fair amount of orders. This isn't my first attempt at e-commerce, and visits yet alone sales is not a given. Bonus tip: be sure to build resilience into your business. A payment reserve isn't even that big a deal when you consider that Etsy could freeze or even shut your shop down with no explanation. With this in mind, it is important not to have all your eggs in one basket. Or in other words, it is good to have a backup, like a plan B and maybe even a plan C. Ask yourself, what if? Once your business has some momentum and you're getting regular orders, start selling elsewhere too. For me, I will launch my Shopify store when I finally get my act together and go live with it. And I am also selling on Amazon Handmade in the UK and probably in the USA next, as I receive many orders from the US on Etsy. Then, if one sales channel goes down for whatever reason, I'm not left completely stuck. If all channels are running, then in theory, this gives potential for more orders overall, as for example, you will find customers who shop on Amazon but not Etsy, and vice versa. Thanks for taking the time to watch this video. I wish you lots of success and hope to see you again soon.